Welcome to Cool But Rude, a TMNT rewatch podcast. Today we'll be going over Season 1, Episode 5, Shredder and Splintered. Stay tuned. All right, welcome back. My name is Chris.
I'm Robert.
And I am Mike.
So today we're actually going to be going over the season finale. This is a short season, apparently, the first season, so only 5 episodes. But I think it ends on a strong note with this one. Before we get started with the episode, we got any news, anything coming out? I did see something crazy because Comic-Con just ended. Xbox is coming out with pizza-scented controllers.
Oh my gosh. Yeah.
Yeah.
And honestly, my only question is, what flavor? What are these going to smell like? Is it pepperoni? Is it going to be supreme? Is it going to be anchovy?
It's whipped cream.
Whipped cream? Sashimi? Who knows?
Oh, it all sounds terrible.
Yeah. I mean, is it going to sound like Shane? What do we got here?
If it was the jelly bean pizza, that would actually be pretty good. If it only smelled like the jelly bean part of the pizza.
No, it would have to smell like jelly beans and marinara
crust,
cheese, crust,
meat, pepperoni.
For a second, I thought you said it was rust. I was like, all right. I mean,
might as well. That might smell better.
Yeah.
Honestly, isn't that how old, grody controllers smell after your friends have all handled them and had their greasy hands on them and all that junk?
I've never experienced that smell, thankfully. That's never been a thing.
I don't really try to smell like controllers.
I don't go around smelling them. I just
either.
assume that they stink. It's grease of whatever chip or wing or pizza that they have been consuming before they touch the controller.
It's I've put in some serious game time, and I've never had my controllers be noticeably aromatic.
Yeah, I've never been able to smell a controller.
I look at it like my PS4 controller from across the room and be like, everything stinks. But yeah, I thought that was pretty cool. That was some pretty good news. Anything else? We got anything going on?
That was interesting. No, I don't.
I did hear that, I read only a headline. I'm terrible. I just read headlines. I don't actually read the articles. Mm-hmm. That I believe it was Seth Rogen is developing a new Turtles cartoon.
Oh, wow. Okay. I know he's about Mutant Mayhem, but...
Right.
Yeah.
And I think it's stemming from his involvement on there. I don't know the details, of course, like I said, but I did read that headline.
That's interesting.
Yeah. I wonder if it's going to be another reimagining or if he's going to go back to revisit or, remake one of the older iterations or whatever you want to call it.
No, it's going to be a new version, I'm sure. Nothing's just sacred, so they're just going to do their version, however their spin on it. So probably something current with the modern climate, whatever.
Yeah, why not? I'm always down with another new series.
They are, and I think you told me this, Chris. They're bringing the 87 series into syndication, I guess, on Nickelodeon at some point.
Yeah, next year it's going to be on Nickelodeon, the part streaming on the Paramount Plus service.
Oh, okay. I'm thinking they were going to be on TV.
Yeah, that's affected us a little bit.
It's kicking the nuts. Yes.
Yes.
We worked around it. But yeah, no, I'm actually looking forward to seeing if they're going to upscale it or whatever. Get some HD, 4K turtle action. That'd be cool.
That would be nice. It's time.
They've done some crazy things, so it'd be awesome to see that.
That would be nice.
Yep. Agreed. So this is, the title, Splinter and Shreddered. Is that right? I
thought it was Shredder and Splintered.
That's it. Shredder.
Okay. Shredder and Splinter. So this is you may have said this is the final episode of season 1. So here's our rundown. So the Turtles are outed. Via a Channel 6 newscast, we learn that due to their proximity to many of the odd goings-on in recent days, the people of New York believe they're the ones behind these events plaguing the city. But something more pressing happens when the Shredder hijacks the signals going to the Turtles' television to tell them he has a retro-mutagen ray generator which can turn Splinter back into a human. He challenges them to come get it. The Turtles allow April to use the Turtle Van while they take a hot rod, one of the Neutrinos hot rods, to the Technodrome, but it breaks down on the way, so Donatello spends most of the episode at Baxter Stockman's place, where he says he can use Baxter's equipment to build a new method of transportation. At the Technodrome, Shredder has finally completed Krang's body. But not only that, Krang also provides Shredder with a molecular amplification unit to install in the body, which will allow it to grow freely in size. When the three turtles, along with Splinter, arrive at the Technodrome, Krang does grow in size, climbs to the surface, and begins destroying the city. Luckily, at this point, Donatello shows up with the new vehicle he's constructed, the Turtle Blimp. The four turtles take on Krang in his giant body, while Splinter faces off with Shredder in the Technodrome. The Turtles take Krang out by removing his molecular amplification unit, but Shredder escapes from the fight with Splinter. Just as Shredder is about to shoot the Turtles with the retromutagen ray generator and turn them back to normal Turtles forever, Splinter throws his stick and destroys the gun, simultaneously saving the Turtles and sealing his own fate to remain a rat. Shortly after, the Turtles have a final showdown with Shredder in the Technodrome, while the latter has begun allowing Stone Warriors through the portal into our dimension from Dimension X. During a brief fight, Donatello is able to reverse the flow of the portal, causing the Technodrome to suck itself through the portal into Dimension X, but not before the Turtles themselves can safely escape.
What an episode.
It's pretty good, pretty tight, wraps it up really good, in my opinion. I mean, it starts off, like you said, with the Turtles have been outed, and they're April's, or is it? No, it's not April. It's some other dude, and he's like interviewing people in terms of like getting their opinion because the city is divided, as always, on like these vigilantes or like these newcomers. Are they aliens or whatever? And this old bag is like, oh, they're turtles or whatever, and like, what does she say? We should hang them.
Yeah.
Like, what the hell? Like,
a little harsh.
Yeah, I was like, holy crap.
I forgot to write that down. I don't know why, but yeah, I was like, geez.
This escalated quick.
Very quickly. It starts, that's how the episode starts.
Hang them. Yeah, they didn't even do anything. So yeah, that goes to that, which I was like, all right, it's gonna be like this, huh? Okay. And then April's over here bitching. She's like, because the Turtles were like, oh, why we're wanted? Like, people want to kill us. Like, this is jacked up. And then April was bitching. She's like, that was my story. Like, all right, chick. It's like, and then but thankfully she's down to help them clear their name or whatever. And she's like, I thought it was kind of aggressive. She's like, I don't care if I got to like hog time and brand them to help me. I was like, why do you got to brand them? Like, what the fuck? Like, I want to torture people to help us. All right, I appreciate you're committed, but calm down.
Pretty brutal start to the episode all the way around.
Oh yeah, they're right out the gate. They're amped up.
They're hanging people, the branding people.
It's like, wow, we're in the straight Wild West. Like, cool.
Is this still a children's show?
Yeah.
Yeah, for real. Like, wow. It's like, but we all knew from the get go, this was never about the kids. Other than selling them some toys. But yeah, no, I was like, all right, cool. I was already hooked. I was like, this is gonna be a good one.
Did you guys notice that their lair, all right? Because they're watching TV in this room. It seems like a big spacious room. It's got a sofa in there. We have not seen this specific room in the past. And I wrote down that it seems that their lair is more like territory in the sewer. They're just taking over more parts of the sewer and they're expanding because when you walk out of this room, there's a door with a glass window in it, stairs leading down, and they have this little automatic sewer door thing that they walk out of. I feel like they're just expanding their territory in the sewers, and their lair is just ever growing.
Exponentially just growing. And there's actually something I see later in the episode that would probably confirm that. Like they would actually
I think I might know.
Yeah.
I think I might know what you're talking about. Like a very WTF moment.
Yeah, straight up. So it's like Donatello hooks April up with not only a communicator, but then the turtle man. Yeah, which I always thought were super cool. As like, I've always liked those. Like as a kid, like whether it's like Star Trek or like the Turtles or whatever. Anytime there's like a little communicator, like a proprietary device that the heroes use, I always think it's cool. But like this thing was like super cool because it's like a shell. It's like a clamshell. It's like flip phone.
Mm-hmm. That's one of those things from my childhood that I dreamed of having, that I hoped was real so bad, and I just wanted to be able to just call the turtles up whenever I wanted to. Mainly at night, because I think I've said before, I was a scaredy cat kid who was afraid of the dark. And
so you want to call the turtles to escort you through the dark?
Dude, I wanted the turtles to come out of the poster that I had on my wall and just keep watch over the doorway of my room, because it led out into this hallway and it was dark. You know, I had my nightlight in my room, but of course beyond the door frame was the darkness of the hallway. And I would always, you know, just dream about, not actually dream, but wish and hope that I had a turtle comm. And it always seemed like I wanted to call Michelangelo and tell him, you know, can you guys come and pretty much protect me from whatever's in the hallway? And that the turtle comm was always very special to me. So seeing it in this episode, the debut of it, that was pretty cool.
That's great.
I like that. Yeah.
Awesome story, dude. Yeah.
Little punk kid. No, I'm just kidding.
I mean, no, that's super cool. So April's got the hookup. She's got the turtle man and the communicator, and she's like, all right, I got this. And no sooner that she leaves, then there's like this like obnoxious screeching noise that comes out, like, I don't know if it's like dog whistle for turtles or what.
Mm.
But Shredder pulls like a poltergeist / like Joker 1989 thing, like where he shows up on the TV, like he just takes over the network. And it's like, is he just talking directly to the turtles, or is he on everybody's TV?
I think he specifically hacked into their TV.
Wow, that's impressive.
That's pretty impressive that he can just pinpoint that one.
I'm not even sure how. Like, what? Tech?
He probably used some Krang's technology.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's complete like Max Headroom style. Just take over the TV.
Yes. Oh my god, I love Max Headroom. That's so cool.
Mm.
Yeah, no, he straight up jacks them and throws down the challenge, the gauntlet. He like shows them, and he like tests it out on like one of the mutants that you're like his like subjects.
Right.
The bat guy. I think that's what he is.
Yeah. But the bad guy.
And he like zaps him, and he turns him into a human again. And he's just like taunts him. He's like, "If you want it, come and get it."
Yeah.
And then, like he says, it's like a retro mutagen gun or ray.
Retro mutagen ray generator.
And then, like, I don't know if you noticed, they say this every time they reference it, almost, unless it's one of the turtles. Like anybody that talks about it says like the entire name. Like every time they're like,
yes,
I must get the retro mutagen ray generator.
To be fair, I'm actually impressed that they came up. Like, yes, it is a very wordy and cumbersome name, but it's like all of the words are accurate. They didn't pull like a Star Trek where it's like the, you know, like the nitro, like the reverse nitro polarity gun. It's retro mutagen because it like undoes the mutagen and it's a ray generator. So I mean, it actually works out.
Yeah, or like before mutagen. Yeah, yeah. I mean, it's accurate for a 1987 cartoon about turtles. So give them that.
The Shredder being on the television. Do y'all remember that from the NES game? I feel like that's where they might have pulled that from. Yeah.
I think so.
Because he has a little talking head on the TV as he hijacks the turtles.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, I wonder if that was specifically because of this.
Right. Well, you know the ray gun is, the mutagen gun is, because that's the whole point of the end game. Like you get turned back into a baby turtle if he hits you. Yeah, with that
I
ray.
never got that far. You're just like like a king of video game. Like, how'd you get that far?
My hat's off to you because that game's a piece of shit. But yeah,
that was for a long time. That was the only game that I had. So I was playing that all the time. I think I had that and Mario, the original Super Mario Brothers, and I might have had Skate or Die. I believe I only had a few video games. The rest were my uncle's, but that was the game that I played from the moment I got home and finished my homework, and sometimes even before I finished my homework, to the time it was time to go to bed. So I put some time into that game, man. I'm proud of myself for that as a little kid.
That is pretty impressive.
That's something to be proud of because that game is tough. Like, I only hate it so much because I couldn't beat it. Like, I couldn't get anywhere with it.
Oh yeah, your hate is justified.
I was like, no, I'm out of this. Like TMNT 2, Turtles in Time, all these other games that ever came after it, I'm all about it. That first one, nah. Don't even talk to me about it. And it came out in '89, so like they made that while it was like, they struck while the iron was hot with that one. Definitely. Not like that ever cooled down, but that was like prime time. But I digress. So Shredder like basically lays down the gauntlet and says, "Come and get it. Come and get this cure for Splinter."
One thing about that is that, last time we were talking about how it's like the Technodrome isn't even a secret anymore. And they're just like, let's just meet up at the Technodrome. Like, everybody knows where it is. Like, whereas, it used to be, where's the Technodrome? Now, every time they need to do something, they're just like, well, let's head to the Technodrome. Like, it's a given. This time it's now gotten so bad that Shredder literally just tells them to come meet me at the Technodrome.
Yeah.
It's like meet me at the flagpole after school.
Exactly. Meet me at the spot.
Yeah.
It's just like throw down, like, where I'm at. Come and get me, guys.
Yeah. He just completely has given up on it being any sort of secret.
There is no illusion of secrecy here. It's just like, come on. But then like he cuts real quick, like once the transmission's over, it cuts to Shredder and he goes to Bebop and Rocksteady who are standing by, and he's like, when they get here, like light them up or whatever. And I just noticed that the arsenal that this place has is like pretty awesome. Like, it's got like grenades like all over, like tons of like assault rifles. And of course Bebop and Rocksteady are like totally gung-ho, and they're like, oh yeah, we got this. And they go and they like start like arming up. I'm like, all right, it's gonna be like that. Cool.
That's great.
Did you notice Shredder had an old school, just regular old XLR mic as his comm system?
Oh, he did?
All this Technodrome, and you don't have some voice activated thing where you just call out Page, Bebop, and Rocksteady. This man is physically holding the mic like he's on stage or something.
That's awesome. I have to watch that again. That's cool.
That is pretty awesome. So they're heading to the Technodrome, but they're not like going through the sewers to get there.
Oh no, yeah, they're on the surface. So they make a beeline for it.
They're in the Neutrino's car.
Oh, that's right. They take the Neutrino car. I skipped that part. Yeah, and they're all like hopped up and like excited, and they're like, "Yeah, let's take it." And, like, it lifts off, and they're like, "Yeah, this is awesome. Now we're cooking." And it's like pup, bang. And it's like,
exactly.
And they're like, "What? Put a piece of crap." Like, and then it's like, how quickly their mood changes, like. And like they're trying to figure out, of course, things like plutonium fueled or whatever. So I was like, okay, so this is not going nowhere.
No,
I was wondering that when they started taking. I was like, as soon as I saw them like talk about taking the neutrino car, I was like, how much gas does this thing have?
And then this is the part that I think you were referring to a second ago. So Donatello's like, well, I guess I'm going to go create a new vehicle, basically. And so he once again goes and just like steals Baxter Stockman stuff, but he heads off to go do that. He's like, I'm going to go do this. You guys you just like go on, like walk the rest of the way, I guess, pretty much what he is expecting.
He's like, I'll catch you guys at the Technodrome.
Yeah, he's like, I'll see you at the Technodrome. Walks off. Walks into a phone booth, presses a button, and like elevators down into the sewer.
Exactly. I was like, this Get Smart? Like, what the fuck?
That's how they got it to the surface. That was in one of the previous episodes. I don't know if it was the
What?
last one. Yeah, and I was going to ask you guys about it, but I just figured it was a small detail.
Oh my
Yeah.
gosh, I
I
did
didn't
not.
even catch that.
Definitely missed that.
They've used it before.
Wow.
I saw that and I was like, I literally rewound. I was like, did that just happen?
I did the same thing. I had to watch it a couple times. So I was like, oh, that's tight. And also, what?
So, like, do they has he set up like a system of
It's got like a network of
network
tunnels.
of phone booth trapdoor elevators, or is that just or do all phone booths in this world just have a button that allow you to go to the sewer from them?
Let's use that one. That's more fun.
That's just a New York City in this
New York
universe.
City. Yep.
You just, if you need to go to the sewer, you go to the phone booth and hit the sewer button.
That's it.
Okay.
Because people do have to go to the sewers, apparently, in this version of New York City.
Why do they have manhole covers too then?
One must not ask these things, Robert.
Yeah.
Okay.
We don't ask these questions.
No.
Maybe the manhole covers that's the original way you got into the sewers, but then they decided they needed a more refined way of getting into the city's sewer system, and this is the new way.
Or like maybe the manhole covers are still like acts like the maintenance access, like for specific parts, and the elevator is, for tourists or something.
For tourists.
What a path we have gone down here, fellas.
I've always wanted to tour the sewers of New York.
Said nobody.
Well, they have sushi down there, apparently, so.
Yeah, rat sushi.
Mm-hmm.
No, I'm not eating anything that rat makes me. I'm sorry. Call me rude.
Yeah, what if the real Splinter did? If he offered you sushi, yeah, I don't think I could take it. Like you said a couple episodes back, like it's probably got a rat fur in it.
Yeah.
I just have to politely decline.
Yeah, imagine like the rat from like 1980 or like 1990. What TMNT one?
Yeah.
That thing is like trying to feed me sushi. It's like no,
I'm good.
Yeah. If it was tea, if it was like some tea, then
maybe.
I feel like you can look into the tea and see if it's contaminated or not.
Yeah.
You can see if there's something floating in that pretty easily. So I might take that if it looked fine.
I got too many questions with the sushi.
Yeah, there's a lot of questions.
Like, where'd you get this? Where did you source this sushi?
Exactly. That's the main thing. Yeah, for sure. How long has it been down here? Just pass.
It's like room temperature.
Oh,
It's like sweaty sushi.
God. Buffet sushi.
There you go. So the turtles, Donatello splits off, and now you got Leo, Mike, and Raph, along with Master Splinter, heading to the Technodrome. But it's no sooner than they're like, even Raphael's like, that's a good turtle or something like that, which was I thought was cool. They get straight up like jacked by like Bebop and Rocksteady. Like these giant hands come out and like wring all their necks, and like cuts to a big old fight scene. And it's obvious like the turtles try to fight them, but they're no match. Like the strength and weapons are like insanely outmatched. And Rocksteady's like in a Rambo mode. He's like he throws two of the turtles into like piles of trash against this brick wall, and then he like starts trying to light them up with a machine gun. And I'm like, whoa, this is so cool. Like, I was like, badass. And then they have to like, it's one of those moments where they realize like, all right, we're outmatched. Like, like I think at one point Michelangelo's like, oh look, they're getting tired.
I had this part written down. This is great. This is a great line. I think it might have been Leonardo that said, I think they're starting to tire. And Raphael goes, great. In a few more hours, they'll barely be able to throw a car at us.
Exactly.
Yeah. Because Bebop had just picked up a vehicle. And that's the point I want to make. Because we were talking, whatever episode it was, 2 or 1 maybe, where they got put into that cage in the zoo. And I was asking, why wasn't one of them able to bend those bars? And I know you always saying, well, it's a rhino. It's built for these wild beasts and stuff like that. But this man just picked up a vehicle.
Good point.
You telling me he couldn't have bent those bars?
I mean, a little inconsistent. I gave you that one.
Maybe it's a different type of strength, like launching a large object as opposed to like slowly but gradually bending. Maybe they're reinforced galvanized steel or something like that.
I don't know. I think that's Bebop. He only got mixed with a pig. Rocksteady, he's a rhino. Like, he should be able to throw all kinds of shit. So I'm definitely with Mike on this one.
Think about it this way, though. You got a car, okay? Do you think there's a better chance of somebody, like some very, very, superly strong individual? Do you think there's a better chance of someone being able to throw the car or be able to grab part of the car and just bend it?
I see what you're saying, because I think we're playing with like physics, but like, I don't know. I think it depends on how much leverage you have. And if each one of them focused on like a center part of those bars, like there's two of them, so one could just pull on one side and the other would pull on the other. I think they definitely had a chance of opening that cage.
I'm just saying all aspects of this show are scientifically researched and accurate.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Yes, of course.
Completely vetted by numerous, I'm sure, articles and yes.
Yep.
After that, the turtles decide they got to use brains over brawn. At this point, they're like, oh, they're throwing cars at us. It's like, why don't we throw trucks? And they're able to like dupe them into like somehow. I think it's Donatello. Maybe he's like trying to push a dumpster at them, and like they catch it, and like they do this little like roundy round thing, and they swing it around, and then they get picked up and thrown into the back. Like somebody's driving the dump truck or a garbage truck, and like dumps Bebop from Rocksteady into the back of it.
Concrete mix in it, classic. Comedy.
Well, I think the truck is full of garbage, and it gets dumped, and then they dump concrete on top of that.
Oh, on top of it. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I know it was Leonardo with that cart that you were talking about, and there's another inconsistency. Bebop just threw a whole vehicle, and it's Bebop and Rocksteady on one side of the cart with just one turtle on the other side, and they're having trouble. They're tussling. It's so much inconsistency when they portray anybody's prowess, as we'll see later on in a particular fighting scene. It's comical. I love it.
Yeah, and like to me, once they dump the concrete on them and they leave them, I was like, they really just tried to kill them. Like once again, like I really don't think these turtles have much regard for like life.
Yeah.
They like buried them in concrete over their heads, like they were gone. And like Bebop and Rocksteady shake it off and like they're up to their necks, but I was like, well, they just left assuming that they were done. Like we never have to deal with those two again.
This is one of the few times you get to see Bebop's eyes.
Oh yeah, it's like his visor, his shades come up over his head. And then after that, it cuts over to I think the Technodrome where Krang and Shredder are bickering, and Krang's like bitching.
Imagine that.
Like, yeah, of course. He's like Krang's bitching. He's just like, "Why haven't you finished my body, Shredder?"
It's like the fourth episode in a row now that we cut to them, and Krang's like, "Why haven't you finished my body?"
Finished my body.
And he's just like, "In fact, I have." He was like, "Oh snap!"
Right.
And
plot twist. He finally actually did it.
Yeah, he's like, "No, I did it." And he like, but it's weird because like Krang is like insistent on this like molecular chip thing being added to it, and Shredder is like, "Yo, what is this thing?" Like, because he's like actually genuinely like questioning, like caught off guard.
Yeah.
And for some reason, Krang has to act super shady about it. He's like, "No, there's no time. Like, don't ask questions. Just do it." I'm thinking here. I was like, I don't like. Does this thing like screw over Shredder later? Like, what's the point of this thing? And it turns out it was nothing. Like, he had no reason to be like this. It was just like he just wanted to be like super sketch. And so, Shredder installs the molecular thing, and he puts these. I noticed it too. He put on gloves when he was going to install Krang, and I thought it was super cool because he puts on these gloves, and they actually are like the show's consistent enough. Well, for some random reason with this, since it like, has his blades sticking out the top of him, but the blades are normal and his hands are gloved. And I was like, "What? That's tight!" Like they actually paid attention. And like he puts Krang in there. I was like, "Oh, this is so cool."
He wasn't touching Krang with his bare hands.
No, he's like, I ain't touching this nasty ass alien brain.
When he said, but why? Shredder's is innocently and earnestly asking, but why? Why do we need the device? Just immediately, Krang, Saki, you fool. Man can't even ask a question. And he's spinning around, as he says, he's just spinning around this little scooter seat. Saki, you fool.
That's the best impression.
Love these two, man.
I love the Frankenstein scene of
yes
of him like hitting, pulling levers and like electricity shooting all over the place and all that, and he even yells, "It's alive! It's alive!"
Yes.
It's like straight up. I was like, that's awesome.
It was really cool. That alone was cool, but I also like the fact that they did something with the scene besides just have him like put him in the new body.
Yeah, they did a whole Frankenstein moment.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think he has to like fuse with it or something? Like, why was all this, besides being a cool scene, why do you think it was necessary that there was a big production about getting him, into
maybe there is like some sort of like process. Like, I mean, he even tells Krang like, you're going to be like discombobulated or whatever.
Right. So some kind of symbiotic relationship there. If you notice, the suit itself, it tries to speak sometime. It just moans and grunts. So it's as if the suit is a separate entity almost. So maybe that's like you're saying fusing or something of that nature. Maybe it was needed for there to be all this electricity and certain conditions, blah, 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 like a Frankenstein situation. Never thought about that.
Maybe it's like Doc Ock and his arms.
Oh, okay.
His arms,
at least in the movies,
they have like their own brain.
They were kind of like, they had like their own almost like AI sentience. And the reason why, he goes bad is like the little chip gets blown up and like the arms take over. So I'm thinking like maybe it's kind of like one of those kind of things, like where the body has its own, narrative or whatever, its own idea of what it wants to do. And Krang is literally the brain.
Tell me if y'all feel the same way. But I think it's kind of funny, and I know it's not like a surprise really, because we have had glimpses of the body, through the blueprint that they've shown a couple times in the previous 2 episodes. But I think it's really funny how there's this big buildup to Krang's new body over multiple episodes. And then we finally get it, and it's the dumbest looking body that they could have possibly designed for him.
Oh,
I had this toy also, and it was no better in person.
It's not. It's just a dumb. It's like a fat looking. It's like a fat cone head.
yeah.
Yes, it was like a almost like a shitty WWE wrestler.
Oh,
Yeah, that's a really good description.
And it's just like, what are you? And like, why are you so dumb looking? And it had like the visor eyes.
yeah, that's classic 80s.
Like it was a product of its time. Yeah,
Like
It's not intimidating.
Bebop can pull those off,
This
but
guy can't.
not this cone head.
This is like somebody's like old, like middle-aged dad tried to pull them off.
Yeah,
That's what the thing looked like. It's not
Yeah.
intimidating whatsoever.
and it's just like wearing underwear.
Oh, and suspenders.
So it really is like somebody's dad just like got roused from their sleep.
Just
or
woke
something.
up.
Yeah.
I would love to find out what they based that design off of, if anything, or how they came up with that.
Yeah, like for a show that's so based on coming up with cool designs for characters.
That's so bad. Like, I literally can't think of anything, even in the future episodes or the whole run or all the toys I ever had. It was like,
As bad as that.
I'm looking at this thing. Yeah.
Yeah, that's a good point. I can't think of anything that looks
Even close.
just dumb, just stupid.
Yeah,
Like,
it's pretty bad.
even their wacky weapons or outfits, I thought were all pretty cool. Like, or I had like some redeeming quality. This thing was just like, what? Like, but yeah,
But you know what? We love it, don't we?
I mean, yeah, it was a big reveal.
Yeah.
I mean, all season we've been leading up to this, and now we finally got Frankenstein's monster, so to speak.
Take it or leave it.
And and it really kind of is, because he needed the brain. If you think about it, like it's kind of like relative to the movie. It's like in the movie Frankenstein, they need the perfect brain for this body. And,
That's true. That's a good point.
And now we got Krang for this body. And then so Shredder is like almost Dr. Frankenstein because he's doing the whole production anyway.
Yeah.
Shredder is Darth Vader. He's Dr. Frankenstein. I can't wait to see what other villains he is.
Yeah, he's the whole catalog. So, and at that point, even I think it's middle production, the turtles show up finally, and they're
they are announced by a computer voice saying "Turtle alert! Turtle alert!"
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
He's even programmed the Technodrome now. So the turtles they're about to they're climbing up into the hole. I think the neutrinos blew in this thing. So once again, at least the consistency of the episodes is there. It's it's always something calls back to the last thing, So I was like, okay, you got this big ass hole down the side of the Technodrome. Turtles are grappling hooking their way up there. And the Foot Clan or the whatever comes out and it's they're trying to throw down with the turtles. And I actually think it's pretty hilarious because in the middle of the fight, because they're like, oh, let's go Green Machine. And they're kicking ass. And Raphael's struggling with a foot soldier. And Donatello calls them in the middle of the fight.
Yeah.
And he's like, hey guys, what's going on? And he's just like, we're kind of busy.
Oh yeah.
He's like, I'm all okay, I'll call back later. He's like, you do that. Just
the Go Green Machine thing was weird to me. It was almost kind of like last time where he says turtles fight with honor.
Yeah.
Except this time they did also. It wasn't just one guy saying. They all yelled it out, and it reminded me of G.I. Joe. You know how they all go, "Yo, Joe." Mm-hmm. That's what it sounded. That's the first thing I thought of. I wonder if this was. Do you guys think this was supposed to become a tagline, and it just never did, or is this just a random one-off?
Well, no, I think it might be a one-off because. Or maybe they were trying things on because, it's turtles fight with honor. It's why are they saying just random shit? And it's
yeah.
It's nobody's ever mentioned anything like this before. And it's out of nowhere this phrase comes. It's so I think they were maybe they were hoping something
see what works.
Yeah.
I took it as they're trying to be cool and honorific and whatever, but they're just kind of coming off as lame and comical. No self-awareness of how silly they sound. I always took those little battle cries as a comedy bit, but maybe you guys are right. Maybe they were trying to, in the show's infancy, trying out different things to see if they could market it and if it catches on. Yeah, maybe. Kind of like Turtle Power and, even Cowabunga. Yeah, I bungled that.
You're pretty close to Cowabunga. I was like, all right.
Oh, that's a totally different show. Not for kids.
I disagree because I can't. When I hear these things, it's cringy to me. I'm
yeah, Cowabunga works.
Yeah.
What was the other one? I already forgot it.
Turtle Power
definitely works too. These
are forced as hell.
They're pretty forced.
See, I don't like Go Green Machine, huh? All right. Well,
not really.
I have that tattooed across my back.
You screwed up, bro.
Dang it.
Yeah, if you're hoping it's going to catch on, I got some news for you.
Mm-mm.
So then they win the fight against, which is funny that they can't beat the foot soldiers.
Yeah, but there's a grip of them. And they got weapons, armor vents.
Oh, that's right. That's right. But they win by flooding the tunnel with raw sewage.
Which I thought was absolutely disgusting and bizarre. I was like,
yeah.
Ew.
And then when they were showing the raw sewage hitting the faces of the foot soldiers, I thought for a second it was going to be have an acid effect or a
yes.
sort of short circuit effect.
Same.
No, it's just piss and shit on robots.
No, yeah, it's just purely disgusting. Is all that it comes down to.
No getting around it.
What does Raphael say to Leo about cutting time or slicing time?
Yeah, I can't. I think it's slicing time.
He's slicing time, and he goes up there and he does this awesome chop And then Michelangelo's up there and he's like riding the pipe.
Watch yourself.
And then like he breaks it, so now it's like just a flood.
Flood of poop.
Yeah, it was pretty disgusting.
And he's like, "Oh, I guess they lost their footing."
Oh yeah.
Nice.
Oh.
And all the while, April, we go back to, who we haven't seen much in this episode,
This part's great.
talking to her boss. And he's like on this rant. He's like bitching like why she didn't get the story or whatnot and this and this. And fires her on the spot basically because she like defends the turtles.
And so she responds by making a terroristic threat.
That's illegal, April.
She pulls out the communicator that Don gave her and it frightens her boss, who's named Burn, by the way. I didn't know this. Burne. I thought
I've been saying Vern my entire life.
Well, no, hold on. Vern / Vernon is the cameraman. He's correct. Burn is her boss, who I never knew even had a name.
Oh, see, I never called the camera guy Vern. I always called him Vernon.
Oh, yeah.
That's why I always thought it was funny that it was Vernon. But no, whole life is a lie.
Wow. Yeah.
I don't deserve to watch this cartoon.
Yeah, you might have to do some seppuku. But that's for next episode. So, yeah, she pulls out the communicator and her boss freaks out. He's like, "What is that, a weapon?" And at which point, she goes ahead and threatens to blow up the entire building unless she gets a news crew. I mean,
She says it's a hyper turtle death ray.
nice.
There's the Star Trek term.
There you go.
Yeah, but she knew she was bluffing, so it's not like she was trying to be accurate. And then she was like trying to turn into a flaming pile of rubble or something.
Yeah.
Nice. But at that point, he's like, "Oh, no problem, April." He just caves in, gives her whatever she wants, and like she's hightailing out there with her news crew. And Vernon shows up. He's just like, Burn. So now I'm like getting confused. I'm like, what the hell? Whose name is just what? Yeah, it's like. So that's why I had to go look it up, and I was like, okay. But yeah, he's like, Burn turned off this order, and he's like, "They're not aliens. I got proof." And she like shows him proof, and he's like, "Okay, cool." And they all get in the van.
I found it interesting how Vernon was almost supportive here of April because he was trying to say if you only had proof, then Burn would reverse his decision. I thought that was kind of cool. It seems like you see different sides of him throughout the series. Like the first episode, he, along with these same crew members that we see in the scene, just left April for dead in the first episode. But now they're all back together again. So I don't know how that works.
Yeah, it's like he definitely wavers in terms of being a likable scumbag to just a scumbag.
Yeah.
And like sometime ally.
Right. Yeah. Did you guys catch Burn trying to get his holler on in the beginning of this scene before April barged in?
Yeah.
Yep.
Yes.
Tell us more.
He was smooth talking it. I thought that they actually showed him in the future episodes sometime or another, like with a wife. I don't know where I'm getting that from. That's probably just a memory.
I do. I don't know if it's his. I don't know if it's his wife, but yeah, he's got a lady.
Is this an affair that April just discovered, or is this the lady that he's talking to, and it just turns into something later on?
I imagine it's the same lady, but I don't know. Who knows who he was talking to? We will never know.
Robert trying to give the benefit of the doubt.
I'm trying to. I'm not gonna turn my boy in for nothing.
It's your boy. What?
Hey, you guys aren't huge Burn fans?
Yeah. Didn't know there was a fan club.
He's my favorite action figure.
I was like, where's his toy?
Does he have a figure?
There's got to be one, right?
A Burn?
Yeah.
Oh, I mean,
surely somebody has made one. I just looked it up. There is one.
Oh, dear.
Is it like a custom or is it like...
No, it's a 1992 Playmates.
Oh.
It's actually a pretty good looking one. It's actually pretty good.
That's the main line, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow. I had no idea. What does he come with?
It looks like a press badge, a TV, what looks like a sandwich with a handle to hold it.
Yeah.
A big one of those like the giant brick cell phones.
Yeah.
He even has another sandwich in his hand. It looks like he's holding a sandwich. The figure itself is holding a sandwich. Then it looks like there's what looks like another sandwich that you can put in his other hand.
He's got like a megaphone with a tongue.
That's what that is, a tongue coming out of a megaphone. I don't know what this big thing in the top is. Like some sort of backpack, it looks like. Oh, no, that's a typewriter. Does he have toilet paper stuck to his shoe?
Wow, it looks like it. That
would be a nice touch.
I love how he's got it. I love how they made him look so sloppy. He looks awesome.
So that's like an old one, but then like I just looked it up, and apparently NECA did one also, which is like, they do really good quality stuff. And he in this one, he just looks like a scumbag like editor.
Okay, he just looks like an angry guy. He's got a picture. He's got a picture of, I guess, his lady.
Oh wow!
He's got soup, a turtle version of himself. Does he get turned into a turtle at one point?
That does not ring a bell.
That would be awesome.
I don't remember that either, but that would be awesome because there's a turtle version of him, a telephone, a framed picture of his woman, some soup, and he just I kind of think the Playmates one looks a little bit better.
We got to buy them.
Oh, I mean, yeah.
Anyway, what was next? What was after?
Well, I have here, my next note was that Splinter is going for the retro mutagen ray.
You got to say it right.
You got to say the whole entire thing every time.
Ray transmitter, I guess. Is that
not quite?
Not quite, yeah. So,
close enough.
But no. So he's going for the retro gun, but it turns into like some fucked up like mirror trap, like Shredder's is like, I'm over here. And it's just like 80 different holograms. And of course Splinter gets it right the first try, and like doesn't he like kick him or something, or hit him with a stick and like knocks him into the console and like destroys the holograms, and then it's like fight time.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, he kicks him into the computer. Like they've got this whole setup. It's like it's going to be a big thing. Mm-hmm. But then like you said, he kicks him and he like smashes into the computer, and then they go away after like 3 seconds.
Yeah, I was getting ready for like Conan the Destroyer, where it's just like the mirror scene with the magician.
yeah, like something that he's going to have to figure out, and we're going to learn a lesson from it and something, But no, it's like 3 seconds later, he takes care of it.
Yeah, you know what the lesson is? Kick the motherfucker into the machine.
Pretty much.
So now say that in Splinter's voice.
There you go.
Kick the motherfucker into the machine.
Wonderful. This is another instance of the inconsistent portraying of how well they fight from time to time.
Yeah.
Splinter's got his A game here.
Exactly. Mm-hmm. Straight up kicking Shredder's butt at every turn. He has the upper hand, and he even breaks his
sword with a stick. I was like, how? Yeah. I can understand like disarming somebody with a stick or a bow staff, but straight up breaking it.
Where does man get that sword from?
Yeah.
Now, this scene, aside from the like holographic stuff, I don't know if I'm just conditioned now to compare Shredder to Darth Vader all the time, but this reminded me of the Obi-Wan and Darth Vader fight. Dude. The way Splinter's kind of sneaking around the base, and then they kind of like randomly meet in this kind of just sort of random hallway.
Dude, I was thinking the same thing. I was like, I don't know if this is like another Star Wars reference because it seems too on the nose, but it seems like Splinter's, and then like, because even after the fight, like the fight resolves at some point. He has like that Obi-Wan kind of moment.
Yeah. Oh, that's right. Yeah.
But yeah, no, I'm totally feeling the Star Wars parallels here for some reason. I was like, And because he's like the older rat, you know, and he's fighting like his student. Like, there's a whole like I mean, I'm not even reading into this shit. This just writes itself. Like, it's there. Like, watch the cartoon.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it was like, oh, this is tight. And he talks about how like he changed the foot. He
corrupted the foot.
Yeah, and
his teachings. He corrupted his teachings.
Yeah, and he's like talking about how he destroyed everything, like, you know, basically, you know, made it all like evil and stuff like that. And I was just like, what? This is some like straight up Star Wars kind of stuff.
Yeah, that was a good scene. They really showed how Splinter was the teacher and Shredder was the student.
Yeah, and that's like the whole time. It's like Splinter's whooping his ass. In the meantime, though, Krang's over in this like portal room and getting creeped on by the turtles who have now accessed the Technodrome. And they're like spying on him, trying to figure out what he's doing. They're like, oh, what's this weirdo? And it's like, oh no. And like they realize that Krang is now opening the portal, or about to open the portal, to allow the Rock people, the Rock Army, from Dimension X into Earth's realm.
And I love Krang he gets on, I forgot what, he gets on a device to talk to Dimension X. And he just says, "This is Lord Krang calling General Trag in Dimension X. Are you there?" Like, does this just go to everybody in Dimension X? So he has to tell everybody that he's calling General Trag specifically?
Oh.
No, yeah. I mean, the whole thing about him, like, you know, like calling out General Trag. I don't know. I thought, and also like, because he calls into like Dimension X and he's looking for Trag, and Trag responds. He's just like talking about he's going to come in. Does it just mirrors this place look like hell?
That's
exactly pretty much does. Pretty much does.
Like the first glimpse of it, I was like, what the fuck? This place looks rough. Like, no one is trying to get the hell out of here.
There's also no gravity because everyone's just standing in midair. Right?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, I didn't catch that. I remember the big scene of all the rock soldiers standing there. I didn't notice that they weren't standing on anything.
Ain't nobody standing on nothing. Ain't no ground. The tanks are just rolling in the air. It's kind of weird. The perspective in this whole scene is kind of weird.
Dolly-esque hellscape.
Yeah.
Right.
That's awesome. I did not notice that they were not like tangible or anything like that. That's cool. And so he's about to, like, you know, apparently unleash hell on Earth, and the turtles interrupt him.
Blast those darn turtles.
I know. And so now Krang has to fight him, and he's like, you're no problem for me with my molecular whatever manipulator. And the thing is, like, I forgot to mention this when it first happened, but like in the beginning, when he first like got control of his body, he's like, let's see if it works. And he like changes his hand into like scissors. He's like, I was like, oh shit. I was like, that's what the manipulator does. I'm like, that's damn right. I want that installed. Like, it's cool.
There are actually two devices. There is the molecular amplification unit. Is that what it was? Yes. There is also a molecular reconstruction circuit.
So which one was he insisting that Shredder do? The reconstruction circuit?
He had Shredder install the amplification unit. I'm guessing the reconstruction circuit was just already in it or something like that. Like, I don't know why both of them couldn't have just been in it from the beginning.
And like I said, I don't know why he was acting so shady about the amplification unit.
Yeah, but so he can so like this is really the most, like, theoretically the most powerful thing ever, because he can grow in size at will and he can morph into anything at will.
Yeah.
Like later on, this dude fucking gets like wings.
Yeah, he gets wings later. At first, I thought they had called the same thing, just these two different words, and it was like an inconsistency. But after they, in a little bit, when they remove the amplification unit to make him shrink back down, he can still morph.
Oh, that's right. Okay.
So he's still got the molecular reconstruction circuit, evidently.
Good catch. I just thought it was all one and the same and whatnot, but yeah.
Me too.
So he goes ahead and gets all juices up.
He juices up and starts. He pretty much goes Godzilla.
Yeah.
On the city.
They even reference that. They're like, "Where's Godzilla?"
Oh, do they?
When you need him? Yeah.
Oh, that's right.
Yes.
Yeah. And who shows up to save the day?
Nick of time.
Burn.
Not quite.
Donatello shows up in the blimp and honks the horn that goes like "Aruga." Like,
Yeah. Like that's all he had. Now, are we just not going to mention the maid scene he had?
Oh no, yeah. Let's
oh
do it.
yeah, that was
Talk about it.
That was like pointless but funny.
Yeah, it was like, and like I thought he was like the whole reveal thing, like he's going to take off his mask and like freak her out. She's like, "You look tired, Mr. Stockman." And it's like, what? Like,
yeah, it's just Donatello just with a welding mask, so she thinks it's Baxter Stockman.
but yeah, no, it's like, and it's like the cliche, you know, like stereotypical, like, isn't this? She's supposed to be, I'm guessing, like some sort of like Latin maid.
Oh, right, yeah.
And so she goes in there, and she's like cleaning and stuff like that, and like he's like, "Can you beat it? Like, get out of here! Like, I'm working on stuff." And like she doesn't take a hint. She like even starts dusting, and her little feather duster like catches fire and like incinerates. And she just keeps on checking. But yeah, I thought it was like you said, pointless, but like kind of funny. Like,
did you all recognize the voice from anything else?
No.
So I had to look it up because I'm like, I know I've heard that exact same voice somewhere before, and it was on the tip of my mind, I guess, and I had to look it up. And it's the lady's name is Tress McNeil, and she does Principal Skinner's mom.
Oh, really?
She does Dot from Animaniacs,
Okay,
and the character Mom on Futurama.
nice.
I thought that was kind of cool.
that's awesome. Wow, way back when, huh? So, you know, Don has his moments, and then he has this big, you know, moment where he shows up and he saves the day with the turtle blimp, which is totally awesome. This thing, and it's like, oh, does this thing work? He's just like, yeah. Like, I mean, kind of stupid ass question considering he just came in flying.
Yeah, that's right.
But they'll get on it. And yeah, it's just like this awesome scene where there's like the turtle blimp, which I was thinking about. I was like, this thing is like incredibly like maneuverable for like a balloon.
Yeah, and so the glider parts can separate.
Mm-hmm.
Is the blimp part more for kind of like long range, and then when they have to do some more tactical stuff, they disconnect and pilot just the glider? Is that the idea?
Is this like the saucer in the stern section? Like,
yeah. Because when they disconnect, it's like, wait, this can still fly without the balloon? What? But maybe it's meant to just kind of glide down because it doesn't stay up for too long.
I mean, it was doing some pretty fancy gliding. Like,
it was
do like a loop or something like that. Like, it's like shooting at them.
Yep.
And like Don and Leo are the ones that got to go down onto like Krang's body. And meanwhile, even like Mike and Raph, who I thought were like the two that are totally not equipped for this scenario. But like, I always feel like looking at them, it should be like one of like the hot colors with the cool colors. Like, you should always have a mix. But when you put them both together, it's just like, oh boy. Raph's like, you know how to drive this thing? He's like, no. Or Mike's like, I don't know how to drive this thing. He's just like, I figured that out.
Yeah.
And so Don and Leo go into Krang's body, like there's like a shoulder seam, which is actually cool because I don't know if you remember, Robert, on the toy, it had those like staple, like the seams, like the stitching on its body, like these metallic, like kind of like stitches.
Oh no, I don't remember that.
Yeah. So I was like, I remember the toy, and I was like, oh crap, like the detail is like on the cartoon too. I was like,
that's cool.
So anyway, they go into Leo and Don go into his shoulder, and Don's like, speaking out loud, thinking out loud. He's like, oh, like I think we're in the shoulder area. Like we think we'll be okay as long as he doesn't do any sudden movements. Cue Raph and Mike bombing the shoulder.
Yes.
And like the thing like reacts, it's like all over the place. And thankfully though, that it helps Leo and Don figure out like that they have to destroy this like energy source which turns out to be the amplifier unit. And Leo decides to start hacking at it, which I thought was,
he just banged on it with his sword. Like, it's the dumbest thing I've ever seen Leonardo do. He just starts whacking at the container part with his sword.
Like, what's the reasoning for this?
Exactly.
So they're doing that, and like Mike and Raph are trying not to crash. and they're getting grabbed. I think like at one point grabs the blimp and then like grabs them. I think eventually, but just as it grabs them, Donatello's like, "We don't have time for this," and he like stabs it with the stick with his bow staff.
Yeah, like in one shot, he takes it out when Leonardo's just like whacking at the containment unit.
Yeah, doing nothing. And they crawl out. I thought it was also like there's a point where like they're crawling out of the shoulder, and Donatello looks over at the body. He's like what's he say? Like, pardon me or like, excuse us?
Yeah. I think it's pardon me or something like that. Yeah. It's pretty funny.
That's the and after that, like, Krang's body starts shrinking down. And of course, he yells for Shredder because he's helpless without his advantages. And he's just like, he's like, what's I always forget his name, like his human name.
Saki, I need you.
Thank you so much, Mike. Yes, he calls out for Saki, and he's just like, he's like, sorry to end the game, but he's still fighting Splinter at this point. And he's like, sorry to end our game, but you wouldn't have won anyway. He's like, takes off. It's like, bro, you're just getting your ass whooped. Like,
yeah.
So he like puts up this like force field and like traps Splinter. And Splinter, like at that moment, he like realizes what he needs to do, kind of. And it's like, this is the part I was talking about where it's kind of has like an Obi-Wan vibe, where he's just like, he has to like, kind of like destroy. He takes out like the force field he's trapped by. And for some reason, he splits his stick in half. His staff.
I saw that too.
I didn't follow that part. He like breaks it in half, and he goes after like Shredder. And I'm like, oh, this is like where he's gonna go like sacrifice himself, which he kind of does. And so he goes down, and he's like, having this like final showdown kind of with it kind of leads up to this like moment where Shredder is just about to straight up like blast the turtles. And the turtles like, oh no, like they resign themselves, like, oh, we're about to like go back into like Turtle Bowl, like we see you guys in the bowl or something like that. Shredder's like, no, tonight I dine on turtle soup, which is like the first time he says like this epic catchline. I've seen it in like a couple games. I think he says it, a couple more times in the series from what I saw.
It is iconic.
Tonight I dine on turtle soup, which is just like Shredder saying, he's like, no, I'm gonna kill your ass and eat you.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh damn. And at that moment, like he's like sitting there, he's just like got both hands on his gun, he's about to like blast him, and like Splinter comes out and like throws the stick and like blows up the gun.
That was the end of that. Shredder
and Krang, I think, decide to go back to the Technodrome.
Back once again.
Is it at that point? I don't think they really lament Splinter's actions at that time, other than like they recognize what he did. Oh no, you blew up your gun. The device that could have changed you back. So then they go back to the Technodrome, and it turns into this whole like final showdown, which is cool because it's like somehow they're able to get the jump on Shredder and Krang, and it's like almost like a 1v1. Like Raphael takes on Shredder.
Yeah,
and I was like, all right, cool. And he's just like, kick it into gear, Donatello, and he's like over there dicking around with the polarity of the portal. And he's able to actually get it to reverse itself. And so like everything starts getting sucked in, like because as he was working on it, the portal had turned on, and it was opening, and the rock army was starting to come through.
Raphael was kind of holding his own against Shredder. You first see him when they snuck up on Shredder and Krang. Raphael comes up from behind and like does this almost half suplex, half hip toss on Shredder and just tosses the man. And then you see him and Shredder squaring up a little bit later when you were talking about right before he tells Donatello to step it up or whatever. And he's very clearly, I think he like kicks Shredder or something. Whatever he does, he lands a blow, and Shredder is once again on his heels. So I just feel like Shredder is not portrayed anywhere near as a big of a threat in this cartoon as he is anywhere else. Because even in the Nickelodeon series and of course the movies, he's this threatening
force to be reckoned with.
Exactly. I don't know if he shows any prowess in any future episodes down the line, but right now this man is not having a good showing.
Yeah, he's not doing great so far. Did you all notice that we get to see the second, like the B list mutants for about 1 second.
1 second. Yep.
Yeah, they're in a cage.
They're in a cage. It's the ones from the other episode that we already saw. You know, what was it? There's kind of like a dog guy, and the guy with the ridiculous, with like the messed up face, and
there's the gecko or lizard guy.
The lizard guy, and the bat guy is back into bat form again.
Oh, wasn't he? I thought he was a human.
Nope, he's bat form once again.
He's Batman again.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
Sucks to be him.
Yeah, I guess they just like
he's like,
just turned him back.
Because damn well he was like not happy. So he's like, oh man, I got turned to a bat. My life now is this, and he got turned into a human. He's probably like, oh yeah, my god, thank you. Like, nope.
Yep.
I wonder what that does to your cellular makeup. Zip zap, back into a human, back into a mutant, back into a human again, blah, blah, blah.
That's probably good for you.
Oh, yeah.
I'm sure it really builds your endurance,
No, they're going to die.
Your constitution. No, damn well, yeah, damn right they're going to melt eventually.
When the Technodrome sucks itself into Dimension X, which is kind of bizarre in and of itself, it like just implodes pretty much.
Mm-hmm.
And then pops out into Dimension X. Krang says something kind of confusing. He says, "At last, I can conquer my home dimension." Which, like, I thought this whole time he was wanting to conquer Earth. Is that hasn't that been the goal? And
well, yeah, it has. It's just that also there's been references to Krang being the warlord in Dimension X, but getting banished.
So is he like, well, I guess now that we're here, I'll just conquer this one first instead, and then we'll go back to Earth? Is that?
I think that's the idea.
Yeah.
He got kicked out in the middle of conquering Dimension X, and he's like, all right, pivot to this place because I can't go home. Which is, I think, weird considering he always had access to the portal. And there's no way Donatello was smarter, but whatever.
Well, yeah, and then later, like in subsequent episodes, they once again are pretty quickly able to come back.
Yeah, it's like not a hard obstacle. So, but no, yeah, I think you're right about him. Is his just pivot in terms of like what he had access
He just
to.
changed. He's like, well, now that we're here, I'll just do this one first.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And then we get the great line from Shredder. But I don't want to conquer this dimension. I want to conquer Earth. Yeah. He takes his mask off.
Yes.
Yep.
He took his mask off just to pout.
He takes his mask off just so he can see him pouting. And then they start bickering once again about whether Krang is in charge of Shredder or not.
Right.
And I'd be like, if I was Shredder, I'd be watching my P's and Q's. Like,
oh yeah,
right, yeah. You're in Dimension X now. He's the warlord of the whole entire dimension.
Mm-hmm. He's the big dog, man.
And he's got the suit that can turn into literally anything he wants it to.
Well, you got to give it to Shredder because he built it.
Yeah, but like he built it the way I just built like
Legos.
The Back to the Future Lego set car. Like I could have never done that on my own.
It's following the instruction manual, I guess.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think you're. I mean, we all know he can't fight worth a damn, but at the same time, he definitely he's a scientist. He's like a geneticist because he mutates the hell out of people.
Well, yeah.
And he can develop tech. So I don't know. I think he's he's definitely at a disadvantage, but I wouldn't count him out.
Yeah, I wonder who drew up the blueprints. I'm leaning toward Krang because it was his request.
Well, I think didn't Robert say he was like waving the blueprints in the first episode?
Yeah. Krang,
right,
Krang, I believe, developed the blueprints.
Okay.
And he just has to get Shredder to do it for him.
Yeah.
You better recognize.
I wonder how I don't recall. I'm going to pay attention to see how their dynamic changes. If, Shredder is more subordinate now, I doubt it. But I do feel that's going to make it even funnier, even more comical situations.
Yeah, I think I just pretty much hope it continues as it is because it's really good so far. They pretty much nailed it. They pretty much nailed it from the start. With like the baby brain yelling at the big muscle ninja all the time. And
right.
Yeah.
I would want a spinoff, like just these two, like
Just Shredder and Krang.
sharing an apartment.
That's a great idea, man. I love that.
But Shredder's now in Dimension X, and he's trapped there for now. Cuts back to the Earth and the Turtles and Splinter, and they're like lamenting the loss of the ray gun. And I thought it was bizarre, this line that Splinter says, where he's basically like, "Oh, he's like, I guess it is karma that I live as a rat." And I'm like,
Yeah.
like, huh?
what did you do as a human that you deserve to be a rat? Like,
I wonder if he just meant like not so much karma, but this is just like what was meant to happen to me.
fate. Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah, this is just fate. This is just what I'm meant to be. But yeah, that was a little weird.
Yeah, I interpreted it as like, oh, I deserve this fate as a rat. I'm like,
Yeah, exactly. What did you do?
yeah, exactly. Like, should you be in Dimension X too, bro? Like, what do the turtles not know about their master? Like,
Mm.
he's got like another family. They like, he's got a Netflix special we're gonna have out.
Wow.
At the very end, they're doing another little news segment on the turtles. Actually, I think this is where they have the old lady talk about how she wants to hang him.
You're right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because this is my notes right here. I thought I just forgot to write it down, but now I see it here. But then at the very end, they show like it's supposed to be like kind of an artist's rendition of the
Yes.
turtles, and they're supposed to kind of look frightening, I guess. But he made them look totally badass. Like it's the coolest image we've seen of the turtles yet, and it's this artist's kind of drawing of a scary version of them.
Yeah, they're like masked in shadows, and their eyes are like white, piercing white, and they have their colored masks.
It's so awesome.
Mhm.
But I'm like, part of me is thinking, I was like, you're trying to I thought like April was trying to spin it like they were benevolent and like are heroes and good guys, and then it shows like this like mysterious, almost scary image. It's just like
Menacing picture.
yeah, menacing. It was just like,
It was so cool that even April was like, you know what, we're gonna run with it.
yeah, yeah. They're the good guys. Look at them. Don't they look friendly?
Right. That was a cool picture.
I was going to just point out the characters that were like on the side of the turtles. They're like, oh yeah, those guys are cool. I want to be a turtle when I grow up.
Oh,
And I
yeah.
was like, you guys are like freaks. Like they had like way too much plastic surgery.
I wrote down interesting art direction
Yeah.
with those teens. That was a sight.
They were very worked on. I was just like, ooh. But yeah, no. And then the turtles are like, oh, right on. Now we can like kick back. And, like Raphael's like happy because he's never wants to do any of this crap. He's like, oh man, we just watch the boob tube and eat some pizza. And of course, Shredder got to come in and be like, wet blanket. I fear we will meet Shredder and Krang again. Donatello tells him, he's like, you worry too much, Master Splinter. Which I think is funny considering like it's Donatello. And then it cuts to the TV.
Oh, yeah.
And it's referencing a line from earlier in the episode. But it's talking about like, oh, and next up our matinee feature, the killer brain from Dimension X. And they're like, oh,
Yeah.
come on. Like, yeah. I was like, all right, that's cool.
Excellent.
But no, I thought it was a super strong episode. And like, I don't know, like, I really think that the animation was like upped to the max on this one. Like, I think it was the best animation I'd seen in the entire season. I thought everything, like, the coloring looked good. I thought everything looked good. Like, I didn't think they kind of like skimped on anything.
I thought it looked great. I think maybe the first one or maybe the first two still look a little bit better, but I'd have to go back and pay attention. But I did think this one looked, there were a couple in the middle there where it started to get a little bit rough, but this one looked great.
Yeah, I wrote down that the faces were much more expressive in this episode than they have been. There's a ton of facial expressions for the turtles throughout, and I think it really added to the character and personality of each of them.
Oh, totally. Overall, I think the episode was just really good. And it like kind of wraps up the story pretty tidy. It was a good finale. I feel like a lot of times like that's how a first season ends. Like it just ends not on a cliffhanger, but like almost like they're saying, like, well, if we don't get picked up for season 2, we told our story.
So, how many pizza slices out of 10 are we going to give this one?
We'll give it a 10.
Hey, a full pizza pie.
It gets the full XL, yeah. No, full 10 slices. Yeah, I liked it. It was my favorite of that. Probably my favorite of the. Even though I'm a huge Neutrino fan, it had just enough Neutrino like flavor with the stupid car to be like, all right, cool. But overall, I thought it was a great episode. Just it didn't get slow. It involved everybody, like almost every character so far that we've seen. Even the rock guys. The only one that was missing was like Baxter, but yeah, no, 10 for me.
You know what? I'll give it 8.5. It was not as funny as some of the past ones. It didn't make me chuckle as much. But as far as you guys saying that it advanced and it wrapped everything up really nice, had a lot of plot, had a lot of action, good fighting scenes. I really enjoyed the fighting between Splinter and Shredder, getting to see that dynamic. Memories that came back for me with the Turtle Calm, the Turtle Blimp, just how Krang's body made those weird wheezing sounds. So there was a lot of nostalgia on this one for me. You know what? I'm going to bump it up. I'm going to give it a 9.
I was about to say, you're describing kind of like a 10 right now.
Yeah. The only reason it's not a 10 is because, like I said, it didn't make me laugh quite as much, but it's definitely deserving of a 9. 100%. Sticking with that.
I'm going to go with 9 also. Really good episode all the way around. There, I feel it just. I don't really have anything negative to say about it. It just didn't have like that little extra touch just to push me over the edge into 10 territory. But it was a great episode all the way around. We got all the stuff that you said. We got Krang's new body. We got the Get Smart phone booth thing. The Frankenstein scene was probably my favorite part of it. And then how I think Chris mentioned the Obi-Wan kind of like scene. Just really good episode all the way around, and really no slow parts or anything like that. It was
keep going.
We get a little bebop and rock. We get a little bebop and rock steady.
I don't know. Sound like a 10 to me, guys.
Yeah, I bumped mine's up from a. It's time for you to just go and bump that up to a 10
or 9.25. I don't know.
I think I'm going to stick with. I think I would have gone back and given episode 2 a 10, or whichever one was the first one where we started doing this. I gave 1 a 9. I think I should have gone back and give it a 10, but this one I think I'm going to stick with 9.
I'm curious, what would have pushed it up to a 10? You said there wasn't anything that like pushed it up there. What was it missing?
If there was like a badass action scene, I think that would do it. There were some good action scenes, but there weren't any just awesome ones.
Like that one where they're fighting the robots in episode 2.
Yeah, where they're fighting the robots, or when April does the awesome turtle van maneuver.
Oh yes. Oh yeah.
Right.
Was that episode 4 with the neutrinos?
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. She was fast and furious. That shit. Yeah.
It looks like some anime stuff. The way she was driving that thing.
What about you, Mike? Like you were saying, you gave it a 9. It wasn't funny enough. Or?
Yeah. I know just some of the past episodes had me dying, and this one, that was the only downfall. That's not even a downfall, honestly. It was just that one thing that's missing.
Sounds like we all really enjoyed it. So, all around, it's a solid episode. And it's got the highest marks so far. So, great finale. And after this, we got season 2 coming up.
Man,
I'm here for it.
We're safe from our pizza experiment. There were no mentions of pizza toppings in this episode.
No pizza toppings. No entire buildings crumbling into dust.
Oh yeah.
The next episode, that pizza tracker's gonna get some work. So.
Oh, is it?
Yeah, I saw enough where we need to be concerned. So
okay.
Oh man.
Nice.
Yeah. Any last comments? Any last add? Anything?
Do you want to give out our email address?
Oh yeah, I totally forgot. For anybody that wants to reach out to us, drop us a line, have any questions, you can reach us at turtles@coolbutrude.com. So spelled just the same as the podcast, just one word. And drop us a line, hit us up.
You know what? I also want to mention our intro music.
Yes,
was composed, created, performed by our very own Michelangelo loving Mr. Robert here.
Thank you, Robert. As anybody that has listened, awesome. So we couldn't do it without you.
Well, thank you. I had fun creating it.
Yeah, definitely. So now that we've caught me slipping, anything else?
I got a list, but we'll save the rest of it for next time.
Fantastic. All right, well, awesome. Thanks, guys. Thanks, everybody, for listening. Thanks for tuning in this week. Next time, we'll be going over Season 2's premiere episode, Return of the Shredder. Have a good one.